our highly esteemed Schools Division Superintendent, Ma'am Laida Lagar Mascareñas, our reputable Principal, Dr. Nimrod Bantigue, Assistant Senior High School Principal for Academics, Dr. Johnny Del Bakiran, Assistant Principal for Operations and Learner Support, Sir Ronnie Carinal, OIC Assistant Junior High School Principal, Sir Elmo Enriquez, Department Heads, Group Heads, Teachers, personnel, friends, netizens, dearest parents and guardians, and most of all, the brilliant and accomplished graduating batch of 2021, a blessed and historic day. This may not be the graduation ceremony you envisioned when you started senior high school. You may have hoped to walk across the stage to receive your diploma wearing your graduation gowns and your biggest smiles unobstructed by face masks. Perhaps you have even imagined throwing your graduation hats up in the air. Today, we redefine our commencement exercise for the sake of our safety and well-being. At any rate, what fully matters in a graduation is that we celebrate in any way we can the wrapping up of a significant chapter in your lives and the welcoming of a new one. Dear graduates, take pride that you are part of the generation who withstood the test of learning during this pandemic. I may not know all your struggles, but I know that most of you face difficulties in these trying times. To name a few, problems on Wi-Fi or data connection, the difficulty in understanding and answering modules na alam ko ay paborito ninyo, learning environment and schedule, dahil minsan medyo maingay ang inyong mga kapitbahay o magulo ang inyong mga kapatid, o ang hindi makita si crush ng personal. Or on a more serious note, the hardships of going through mental health conditions, or even the struggle of balancing study and work. Some of you might have even gone through more depressing and devastating news like losing a loved one due to COVID-19, family members or relatives getting infected with the virus, or maybe your guardian losing his or her job. Yet here you are. Your unwavering dedication to finish your modules paid off. You overcame the sudden and difficult transition from face-to-face classes to distance learning. You defied and overruled the apprehensions and the fear of many. Finally, wala na muna kayong mga modules or deadlines na iisipin. Pero mga butihing estudyante, hindi lamang kayo ang magsisipagtapos ngayong araw na ito. Gayon na rin ang inyong mga magulang, na kung sipag at tiyaga sa pag-aasikaso ng inyong mga modules lamang din naman ang basihan ay tiyak na with high honors pa. Mga mahal na magulang, pinatunayan po ninyo na ang COVID ay hindi hadlang, bagkus ay parte lamang ng daan sa tagumpay ng ating mga kabataan. To our supportive and devoted parents and guardians, our warmest and sincerest congratulations. Graduates, you could have never reached this point also if it weren't for the collective efforts of our educators. Behind the success of academic year 2020-2021 is the relentless efforts of the teachers and personnel of OMNHS. In the course of a worldwide crisis, our teachers refused to compromise quality education. Conventional teaching methods were expanded to accommodate new modes of learning strategies. In fact, some of our teachers who are not tech-savvy dedicated their extra time learning and adapting to the new system. This level of commitment shown by our mentors made this graduation ceremony a possibility. Kaya mga ma'am at mga sir, maraming salamat po sa inyong sakripisyo at sa pagtugon sa hamon ng edukasyon ngayong pandemya. Saludo po kami sa inyo. COVID-19 is suggested to be one of the greatest equalizers in society. This is said so because no matter what one's position is at the social hierarchy, no one is absolutely immune from the virus. Kahit sino ka pa, pwede kang maging biktima. While this is true, the struggle has never been similar among social classes. What may be a walk in the park for some is a walk in the Jurassic Park for others. And what's even more saddening is the fact that COVID-19 exposed and aggravated the deep-seated and institutionally entrenched problems of our country such as poverty, poor healthcare, lack of sustainable urban planning, and weak crisis management. I am painting a picture of status quo not to rub the joy out of this festive occasion, but to let you know, dear graduates, that the world outside your social media accounts is real, is struggling, and is not child's play. Our nation was born out of several crises, from colonization to dictatorship, from the horrors of typhoons to man-made calamities. Out of this present crisis, I know hope will rise because the spirit of the Filipinos is unyielding. Ang bituin at araw niya kailan may di magdidilim. However, our resilience as a nation shouldn't be romanticized or exploited to cover up for incompetence or inaction. Rather, our resilience should inspire a movement of change. That is why, more than ever, dear graduates, we need your ideas, skills, and character to ultimately end these adversities. We call on you, our dear graduates, because we know that you can amplify our traditional ways. Just take the example of community pantries around the country. These community pantries were not simple giveaways or feeding projects. They revolutionized the way we look at the word altruism, proving that no one does big things by himself. They reminded us the virtue of bayanihan, one of the most important values in Philippine culture and tradition. This movement of selflessness and solidarity actually sprung from the boldness and courage of a young mind. In the same way, look at how the youth in social media influenced government policies and reforms. How the hashtags, retweets, and social media posts woke more Filipinos from their slumber and made them realize why and how fanaticism is irreconcilable with democracy. These concerted efforts challenged our leaders to act, more so to act with accountability. These are a few of the reasons why the youth cannot be stereotyped as mere passive listeners or as entitled citizens. Sure, you take selfies. You do the challenges in TikTok. You prank your friends, even your parents, siblings, or your dogs. You play ML, PUBG, COD, Valorant. You vlog and then ask your viewers to like your posts and subscribe to your channels. You binge watch your series on Netflix. You craze over the purple packaging of BTS meals and greet your friends with Anyong. But these do not completely define you, and more importantly, these things do not limit your capability to be change makers. Let's take a moment to appreciate your generation by taking a hyperopic and more considerate view of your skills and character. Foremost, you are digital natives. You were born and you grew in a period where the world is at the height of technological innovation. There is an abundance of information in your fingertips, so you are spared from the effort of browsing through card catalogs. Google nga ang inyong best friend, di ba? Your networks are extensive because you can conveniently build connections nationwide or even across borders. What seemed to be unreachable before are nowadays just a Wi-Fi or data connection away from you. Since the world is slowly going online, who else are more likely to thrive and survive? Also, you are financially mindful. Although your generation experienced the height of technological advancement, you have also been shaped by economic or financial problems. With the abundance of online shops and with scarce resources, you learned to become shrewd and prudent consumers. Uso ang budol pero you learned the value and the importance of add to cart. Lalo na ngayon na buwan-buwan na lamang may sale. Inuulit pa nga yung pangalan ng sale. 44, 55, 66, 77. May anniversary, may mid-year payday, basta laging may sale sa lahat ng okasyon. Likewise, you appreciate minimalism and are drawn to more sustainable products and brands and even to environment-friendly items. You also have a different approach in politics. Actually, your generation is less likely to be brainwashed. You want facts, not fake news. You speak up and abhor apathy. You hate enablers in as much as you are easily agitated by news of human rights abuse or injustice. And that is all because you are woke. You choose to use the abundant information in social media to your advantage. Finally, you are fearless. When confronted, you refuse to adjust to the dictates of the conventional times. You stand up for yourselves believing that your daring ways may be different from the rest of the generations, but are in the same way effective and appropriate for the challenges of the present times. Now that you're heading on to more advanced studies or to your chosen career paths, let me give you 3 pieces of advice. First, you cannot expect the odds to always go in your favor in as much as you cannot fully control what transpires in your life. Hindi mo pwedeng sabihin sa COVID na stop or canceled ka na. mayroong mga bagay na hindi natin mapipilit dahil limitado tayo bilang tao. Actually, I experienced this firsthand when I lost control in 2017. My daddy, Bowie, whom I know is very proud of me up there, and to whom I dedicate this, passed away when I was on my last year in law school. There is no word to describe how painful it is to see my father gaze at my eyes for the last time, and to never get to talk to him or to tell him how my life has been. And then months later, after my father died, ang lola ko naman ang pumanaw. You know, when I was young, I dread the thought of losing my lola because I was very close to her. I couldn't have gone through that immense pain if not for my mother and my sister. I know that my mother and my sister's love for me are immeasurable and boundless, so the least thing I did was to carry on bravely for them. Anyway, that wasn't all. I underwent a brain surgery due to a tumor in my brain stem. I was also diagnosed with diabetes and a rare disease called the von Hippel-Lindau disease. I was really at rock bottom during those dark times. I learned the hard way that even if I may not have the full control over what happens in my life, I can definitely control how I respond to these situations. The difference lies in one's willpower to dominate setbacks. All I could do is to refuse to be limited by my pain and sickness, and to redirect my attention to what matters most. This leads me to my second advice. Nothing worthwhile comes easy. Lahat ng magagandang bagay ay pinaghihirapan. Walang shortcut sa tagumpay. When my father was still alive, he often reminded us the poem written by John Whittier. It says, "So stick to the fight when you're hardest hit. It's when things seem worst that you mustn't quit." Kumbaga sa ML, kahit sa tingin mo GG na ang team nyo, huwag kang mag-i-initiate ng surrender. Sa buhay naman, huwag kang bibitiw kahit gaano kahirap. Kung kailan mas mahirap ang sitwasyon, doon ka mas lalong magsumikap at huwag sumuko. You can rest, but don't quit. Whatever your circumstances may be, gipit ka man sa pera o wala mong sumusuporta, huwag kang panghihinaan ng loob. Bagkus, mas lalo kang magsumikap. Put in extra little effort. Extra hour of study, extra discipline, extra confidence, extra work, and most importantly, extra prayer. When you put together all those small but meaningful extra effort, you'll see that what seems to be insurmountable at the moment is just a small step away tomorrow. Huwag ka rin panghihinaan ng loob kung sa tingin mo ay wala namang nararating ang lahat ng iyong pagsusumikap. We all have different timelines. Huwag mong ikukumpara ang panahon mo sa panahon ng iba. Trust me on this. The journey to reaching my dream of becoming a lawyer was never easy. Parang binabayaran ko ang pagpapahirap sa akin. Kasabay ng hirap ng law school, andyan ang pagkawala ng mga mahal ko sa buhay, ang napakaraming health concerns at maging financial problems. I had to study twice or even thrice as hard to maintain my academic scholarship. And I even took sidelines so I could somehow help my parents and also my dear ate, who is working abroad to pay for my expenses. May experience pa nga ako na lahat ng kaklase ko, nakapila sila para magpa-book signing sa professor namin na author ng prescribed naming libro. Pero dahil hindi ako makabili ng libro sa kakulangan ng pera, nakaupo lang ako. Titingnan ako ng professor ko noon. Pakiramdam ko nandiliit ako. Pero kahit gaano kahirap, nagsumikap pa rin ako. Madalas akong umiiyak sa library dahil sa hirap ng law school at sa hirap ng buhay. Pero parati akong bumabangon at lumalaban. By God's grace, at dahil sa tiwala at gabay ng aking pamilya, nakamit ko ang aking pangarap. Ang pangarap na binuo ko rin sa paaralang ito. Last piece of advice, life is meant to be lived. Do not attempt to skip your youthful season, rather enjoy it without haste. Eventually, you will work to provide for your family, but in that process, do not forget to find your purpose. COVID-19 reminded us to never take moments and things that matter for granted. So pursue the things that you love while remaining to be good and kind persons who bring value to the lives of others. That is humanity, and that is far more important than any prize or any achievement. Graduating batch of 2021, take pride of your accomplishment. Keep your head on the cloud and your feet on the ground. Remember that in everything you do, Work at it with all your heart as if working for the Lord and not for men. Be brave. Mabuhay ang Oriental Mindoro National High School Batch 2021. Mabuhay ang kabataang Pilipino.